Hi and welcome to Blueberry Beetle Online Art School. My name is Meg. Today we're going to have a look at basic shading techniques. Some of these will show direction, others texture, and others are soft and subtle. Usually in a drawing we start with those that show direction. We'll have a look at some of these in context. The first technique is called hatching. This is where you create shading by using lots of small lines close together. You can still create curves in hatching either by adding straight lines together or by using curved lines. We use hatching because it gives us directional cues. In other words, it can help explain how the object we are drawing moves in three-dimensional space. The lines can be really close, like in colouring in, or parallel with some space between. The smoother style is used more in realistic drawing, and the parallel kind more for ink works and diagrams and the like. Hatching can also be used to create parallel texture, such as in hair. The next type of hatching is called cross-hatching. This is hatching in two or more different directions. Cross-hatching makes an area darker or purposely describes many directions. It can be good for showing gradations of tonal value, that is, slow progressions from light to dark. Smudging is a means of getting a softer, more gentle effect. You can smudge shading that you've already made, or tip shavings onto the paper directly. Or even transfer shadings from somewhere else. An interesting way to add texture or patterns is to try rubbing. You might have tried this already with coins. Place your paper over a textured object and use long, smooth hatching strokes. Try and keep the direction and pressure even. This works best with about an HB or a 2B pencil. Scrumbling is shading by making little circles. You can use it to blend areas, create textures, or create shading that doesn't have any directional cues. You can see it in some of my other videos, like how to draw a hamburger. I explain more about direction in my basic drawing and intermediate drawing classes on Blueberry Beetle. Here I'm doing Scrumbling to create a scaly texture. Another fun way to create shading is to use shapes like stars, triangles, squares, or anything else you can think of. It will give that area a unique and interesting texture. Shapes usually take longer, but they can add a really interesting element to your work. Again, they can be random or neatly arranged. On a small scale, it can distinguish one texture from another, such as different types of fabric. Stippling is making areas of darkness with dots. The bigger or closer together they are, the darker an area seems. It's one way you can combine texture with shading. You can make the dots even and regular, like an old comic book, or random and interesting. Here I'm just touching up my drawing, adding some details and refining the tones in some areas. I'm using a combination of techniques that I've already used. Another interesting way to create shading is to use an eraser to take off some of the shading that's already there. This can create all sorts of interesting textures. It's also a great solution when you've made an area too dark or too tight and you need to loosen it up a bit. Lastly, I want to mention combinations. There's no rule saying that you have to stick to just one type of shading, even within the same drawing. So explore a few different types together and see what you come up with. Well, that wraps us up here for shading techniques. For more drawing tips and courses, please see our online art school at blueberrybeetle.com. Please look out for more videos, or even better, subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.